Yeah.
Just makes it easier, you know?
It was an 11-inch. It was literally the smallest TV known to man. It was so tiny.
We had
so brilliant.
Like an 8-inch black and white TV or something like that back at home when I was growing up. We used to we hooked up the Atari 2600 to it, played like Snoopy and the Red Baron and like Berserk and stuff like that on it. It was great.
Berserk. Berserk was awesome.
It was my favorite Atari game.
Really?
By far, yeah.
I was a big Pitfall fan.
Pitfall we didn't have Pitfall. Which
I remember getting Pitfall 2,
mm-hmm.
and so I knew where my parents hid my Christmas gift.
Okay.
And I would actually go and I unwrapped Pitfall 2 and I would just cut the wrapping off. I played it and then I would put it back in the package and rewrap and put it back with the other presents. I did that like 4 days in a row.
Did that work?
Nobody noticed, and I acted well enough when I opened it. Oh, this is great! Suddenly, I'm halfway through in minutes, and they're just like, "Wow, you're really good at this game." I was like, "Yeah, I'm good at games."
You're gonna make games when you grow up.
Yep.
Yeah. We even had the old ET game back when it came out.
Oh God,
yeah.
we never bought that. We ducked that.
Yeah, we did. It was we bought one of my brother's friends' Atari 2600.
Okay.
So we had a bunch of them. So.
We were one of those kids who got Atari 2600 when it first came out.
Oh, right on.
And Adventure, I actually remember getting the dot. Getting the invisible dot.
Nice.
That's why when Ready Player One movie came out, I'm sitting with my family and we're watching it and I'm telling them it's like, no, it's totally Adventure. He's going for the dot. He's going for the hidden room. They're like, what are you talking about? Ba-ding.
Yeah.
I am old. I drink and know things.
Yeah. It's the funny thing for me when I hear Adventure, our first game box, if you could call it that, was a TI 99-4A. And so there was a big old cart that just had Adventure written across it. It was like this text adventure, like called Pirate Adventure, I think, technically. But that was a lot of fun. Tunnels of Doom. Like, that was my first D&D experience right there.
So do you know what? It is Black Friday.
It is Black Friday. Happy Black Friday, everybody.
Happy Black Friday. We know we're online. We just got to waste time at the beginning because we're goofing off.
We were having a conversation.
We're talking about 11-inch TVs and how awesome they were, and then it got into Atari 2600 territory.
That's my fault.
And so Black Friday, it wasn't really a thing in Canada until about the last 5 years.
Oh, yeah?
It really kind of took off.
I moved away from Canada for a very long time. From my youth, and I didn't remember Black Friday being a thing. But then I was in California, where it was definitely a thing. Yeah,
it's like America Thanksgiving. It's like
yeah. When it really kicked off, though, like we were already doing online purchasing and stuff like that, so we managed to skip like the Walmart like death races. So
I've never gone for the kumite that is Black Friday. You get to prep the big elbow.
Yeah, well, I mean, you could probably soar on your way through a Walmart with
that's my TV. No, I just do not think that it's worth going to war for a TV, man.
Well, that's a nice thing, you know. Now they have Cyber Monday was a thing for a while, and then I guess the online stores were just like, let's just go Friday.
Let's just do Friday too. Forget that Cyber Monday.
We don't have to fight against
cyber.
It's
Such a weird word.
I know.
Let's just back away slowly. So we should probably actually do
Beamdog stream
instead of goofing off.
How's it going, guys?
It's going on this front. Obviously, we're well caffeinated.
Yes.
Beamdog news.
Shall we news it up?
We should news it up.
Let's do it.
You or people that you know.
There you go.
I'm trying to point into the camera.
Yeah, I pointed at the screen first.
Yeah. Should work at Beamdog.
Yes.
We're still looking for people.
Come work with us.
Web developers, programmers, a lead programmer, quality assurance testers, and technical artists, and a network systems administrator. We're doing interviews, but we're still accepting applicants right now.
Absolutely.
Get your application in.
More coming as well.
Yep. So we have a listing here that says job perks.
Yes.
Exclamation point.
Just so you know what you're getting yourself
Sane
into.
hours. Exclamation point.
Work 8-hour days.
No crunch. Exclamation point.
Work only 8-hour days.
Okay, that's too redundant. This is some QA here.
Yep.
Fruit bowl. Exclamation
Have
point.
bananas and or oranges from time to time.
Yep, depending on what's in season and what looks good. But Dan does a good job at taking us taking care of us. Awesome coworkers. You could work with people like me and Luke and the hand of Dan, which is literally only a hand. Dan is a disembodied hand. He's
basically, after the Addams Family thing needed a job, so we brought him on.
Dan is thing. Get swole with Trent.
That is literally an event that we have on a monthly basis.
It's called Get Ripped with Trent.
Get Ripped with Trent days. Yes.
Although what happens is about every 3 months, it's completely new people, so it's
Nobody's
pretty much
quite ripped yet.
Weightlifting 101 with Trent. And I usually, I've taken time off, or I'm recovering, or I'm doing something, so I usually suck somewhat. So
it's all good.
I'm never pushing it so hard.
Yeah, we have company gym memberships. So
we do.
Yeah, once you've been here long enough to get your gym membership, then on a monthly basis, you can go into one of the local gyms.
Yeah, it's a 24 hours, so you can actually just use your little thing, and you can get in any time.
Yep, and Trent can teach you how to lift.
Yep.
So
the good rule of thumb is when you look around the gym and the exercises that nobody is ever doing, those are the ones you should do. Because no one's doing them because they're hard and they hurt and they kind of suck.
Yeah, and
that's why you should do them.
Understand.
Yes.
Yeah. But they work out the important muscles.
Yep. Hit the big stuff. Hit it hard.
Like the brain.
Yes.
Oh,
it says new office update. We have a new office that we're working on.
Yep.
We're in construction right now. The dudes are literally like they're putting the edging on the corners and doing the drywall mudding.
I heard that there were walls there that weren't there before.
There are walls. There are many walls. I have pictures on my phone that I'm not sharing yet because I'm kind of a jerk like that.
Yeah, it's all good.
And there's also electricians pulling cables. Some of them are powered cables. Some of them are network cables. So that's kind of interesting. Here's a question.
Oh, my.
How big is Beamdog now? We are currently 45 full-time employees, and I believe there's at least another 5 hires on deck.
Yep.
Immediately.
Getting to 50.
Oh my God. Pretty soon we'll be buying a house every month. And
when will we move
so
to the new
the
office?
current office that we are existing in, we're kind of split
Beamdog
across
East.
the two. So Beamdog East is 3,700 square feet of disjointed character building.
With strange, like off-brown walls.
It has a lot of character. Beamdog West is 11,000 square feet. So
it is a shiny not really brand new, but a shiny
it's
new
a,
office.
It's a nicely renovated office, and then we're
renovated.
going and we're customizing it to fit our needs. So it'll be pretty awesome.
View in the trendy district of Edmonton.
Exactly.
Yep.
In the heart of Old Strathcota.
on
White Ave,
and bars.
the trendy of the trendiness. There were lots of food options.
Oh, yes.
I had Daddy-O's yesterday.
Oh, I love Daddy-O.
I love Daddy-O's. It's so brilliant.
And Joshua over there, whenever he sees me in my Neverwinter shirt, he will just talk my ear off for a while. I love that guy.
He's like my PlayStation fan touch point. It's like, what's on in the world of PlayStation, Josh? He's like, this and that and this. And I'm like, awesome.
Yeah, he's the man.
So if I totally need to know.
I tried to talk him into coming to the Edmonton Expo to play the Android mobile beta, but unfortunately he was working that day. So
it happens.
Those days, I guess. So sadly. To bring in an Android and just give it to him to just ruin his work day.
Yeah, here, play this while trying to do work, my young friend. So, marketing news.
Yes.
Beamdog.com and Steam. We have autumn sales up. We're doing 66% off Neverwinter EE.
Yes.
Ridiculous.
2/3 off.
Why?
Of
Why are we
Neverwinter
doing
Nights
that? Why are we doing that?
That's less than $10.
That's insane, man. That's just ridiculous.
You should pick it up if you don't already have it.
You should tell.
I know all you guys.
You should even tell people you don't like to pick it up.
It's
a hell of a deal, man. We're also
tell your friends. Tell your enemies.
Yeah.
Tell people on the street.
Tell people you are actually somewhat indifferent to. I care not about you, Biff, but you should know. Neverwinter's on sale, 66% off, and it's 70% off on the DLC.
Yes.
And we're also running a 50% off on the BG stuff and DLC as well.
Yeah, so pretty much everything on our store is at least 50% off right now.
Man.
Insanity.
What's that whole Black Friday thing? We were sitting up in Canada, nice and calm and reserved, and we're looking down at America going, it's Thanksgiving! And turkeys
Turkey
and
coma,
fire
time to kill someone for a TV.
And then it's like, Black Friday! And we're like, okay, I'm a little scared. Mm-hmm. But let's put it on sale so it'll keep them. They'll calm down once they get the game. They won't invade Canada or anything in their turkey rage.
Turkey rage. It's all those cranberries, man.
It is. It's nobody knows, but cranberries are actually a secret berserker thing. Here's a request.
Yes.
Vote for us in the 2018 Steam Awards.
That's right. They're going
We'd
on
love
right
to
now.
see nominations for Labor of Love and Best Developer.
Yeah, so from November 21st to 27th, the Steam Awards for 2018 are active, and you can go in there and you can nominate anybody for any games for all of their current active openings there. And among them, there is one called The Labor of Love, which is basically, this is an older game, but the developers are still updating it and still showing it a lot of love, and we feel like Neverwinter Nights and the IE games.
That's us. We are the love crew. We are giving it the loving.
Team Love. And there's, of course, Best Developer, and we would be honored if you put our name forward for that.
Yep. We got a GOG sale coming up.
Because, we're on sale everywhere else.
Because it's Black Friday! I'm switching a theme here today.
It's going to happen all day, guys. I hope you're ready for that.
I'm just going to randomly walk up to people and go, Black Friday!
Oh, boy. Yeah, 75% off on Infinity Engine titles and downloadable content on GOG.
So let's get on topic here. We got some questions. One of the questions is, why is there no achievement for getting the big metal unit? Can it be added? Dude, the big metal unit is reward enough. What do you need?
It is the achievement.
Yeah, you've got the big metal unit. How many people in the universe even know what the BMU is? Because that is power, my friend. To have found all of the components and to have assembled a big metal unit, that is achievement enough.
That's a dedication too.
It is.
Right there.
It is. Someone has done a lot of research to find that.
Mm-hmm. Or just found it on the internet and then just follow the steps.
But still, you follow the steps.
Oh, sure, certainly, yeah.
And you have to. Usually, it's like, oh, I killed that guy, or oh, I already went there. I can't go back. So you start a new game and you read the read through on how to get the BMU, and then you got to do it. There's an investment there.
You gotta really give props to the people who figured it out, like before there was
internet.
Before they could go to GameFAQs to find out how the...
Well, the funny thing is it was a joke. It was like Greg would come in and he'd be all like swing dingle, 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 and he'd be like, yeah, and I like what you're wearing there. It was golden pantaloons. And he kept joking about golden pantaloons, and when one day they popped into the game. Yep. And then suddenly over time it became this whole joke thing, and boom.
Golden pantaloons.
Golden pantaloons, and then the BMU.
Right on.
Neverwinter EE news.
Yep. Sign up.
Yeah, mobile beta is ongoing. Patch 2 is alive. Cross-platform play.
That is right. I pressed the button yesterday on the mobile beta patch 2. So
on Thursday, just before Black Friday!
Thanksgiving! Now mobile beta patch 2 is also based off of the 1.78 code, which is also known as 8186. So any persistent world servers that are running on 7.8 and anybody that's up to date on the stable build of the PC version will be able to play with mobile beta 2 players. So
awesome.
Yeah, give it a try. If you have the Android version of Neverwinter Nights Enhanced Edition, now you can play with your PC friends.
That's nutty, man.
It's crazy.
The fact that you can actually grab a game that like years ago would just bog your system to its knees. You're like, I'm going to play that on my phone.
I have Neverwinter Nights in my pocket.
Exactly. I'm going to, on this fine Black Friday! I'm going to play on my phone. It's going to get old.
No, it's fine.
You're going to look back at this in the future and go, my God, we are such idiots.
We drank too much coffee today.
Yep.
I'm on my third cup. I actually finished it before the stream. I thought that I was going to be like sipping it. No, I was done like 10 minutes before
I basically go through about half of this before the stream, and then I retop it at the start of the stream.
So you're pouring literally a bowl of espresso into your mug.
So all the mugs were in the dishwasher, and the dishwasher was running, so I had to grab a bowl to put the coffee in because this won't fit in our coffee machine. It's a little too big. And so I poured 2 bowls in there.
It was a thing of beauty.
It is. It's just a happiness thing.
Yeah. So Mobile Beta 2, aside from cross-play, there are still some fixes that we are putting through. What is to come? Well, you are going to see when the game goes live that we will have added the store in there, which will allow you to purchase premium modules like Darkness Over Daggerford, and also the free modules that are shipped together with the PC version. Like Contest of Champions and Kingmaker. Those are going to be listed as free on the store, so just press the store button, go down, scroll down to the free items, click it, and it will download onto your game. We just didn't want to bog you down with like a huge...
Here, download all the data and smoke your Android device.
Every gigabyte.
Yep.
So instead
I can't answer my phone because it's too full of Neverwinter Nights.
So we've given you the option to download them a la carte, basically, from the store page, and that will be on the game's main screen. We're actually replacing the exit button because Android doesn't allow us to just kill an app from within the app. So
you cannot exit. All you can do is buy stuff from the store. There's a request. Luke, can you drop your chair down?
I can see if I can find, or I can just slouch a bit. No, that's... How do I... Where's the button? There it goes. Okay, I got it.
There you go. There we go. Here's the next question. How do you get community content on your phone?
So, first thing you need to do is to attach your Android device to your PC via USB cable. One typically comes with your phone when you purchase it, and you'll also need to download the correct drivers to your PC. You can find that information online. Google's Android FAQ has information about what drivers and links to those various places. If it's Samsung, there's a Samsung-specific driver. Find your phone, find the right driver, install it, and that way you'll be able to look at the file system of your game via your PC's browser. So then you grab community content, and you open it up, and you go to the Android data folder, and then there should be a folder in there called com.beamdog.nwn Android. Open that up. And the rest of it is basically the same as the Neverwinter Nights folders in your My Documents folder on PC. If there is a folder that is not created yet, like a mod folder or like anything along those lines, you can just create them right there, and it'll behave the same way. The file system is identical to the PC version. So you can just take your custom content, drop it in there. You can drop some mods in there. One small caveat, however, performance issues may occur if you
throw crazy mod stuff in there. You may slow your machine. You may slow your phone down to nothing. Or you may cause it to explode in an inferno of fiery heatness that sprays you with battery goop.
If your NVIDIA 1080 can't run it very well, then your Android phone probably won't either.
That is true. That is totally true.
So there you go.
Beta survey.
Beta survey, yes. So there is a survey if you go to our... So if you clicked the beta invite, there was a link to our support page, beamdog.atlassian.net, which will allow you to go and it shows the FAQ about the beta, and it's where our bug tracker is, and you can also, from there, there'll be a link that says take our survey. Click it. There's some questions about usability and other places for you to sort of write some feedback, which we will receive, and that'll help us to kind of guide where we're going with the mobile beta, with the mobile version.
So make sure you grab the beta, you play it, and you fill out the survey on this wonderful Black Friday!
There you go.
Hey, we got Danny. This is going to a dark place.
Oh, man.
We got a question here.
Yes.
What's the best way to create portrait packs for NWN, etc.? I've got POE2 I'm assuming that's Pillars of Eternity 2, automatable, and I'm working with an AI art company to turn selfies into portraits for NWN. Okay. It's set, get everything. Dan, can you scroll slightly? Scroll me. Dan, can you scroll me?
There we go.
Get everything Beamdog have. I'd prefer just writing out a .hack or something. There's certainly a lack. There's a certain lack of file formats. I'm not sure in terms of how to actually make a pack per se. Typically, we just kind of throw a bunch of files together.
There's a slightly different path that we take when we're releasing a portrait pack versus like community portraits, because ours are packed directly into the binary.
Yep.
Especially going forward with the ability to have multiplayer access to them. But the standard path for it, I can't remember it off the top of my head, but there are internet tutorials out there. There's a couple of different like Targa size files that you have to create. I think it's 5 different ones.
Yeah, you make the big version, and then the best thing to do is just to generate the subscale versions of that.
Scale them down individually. They're all the same aspect ratio. But yeah, there's tutorials online, and you can drop those into the My Documents folder. And as long as all of your friends have the same portraits, they'll be able to also see them on multiplayer. But yeah, I'm not sure if there is a easy way to do that. It's like a hack pack.
Yep. So here's a question.
Next question.
Yes. Can you explain the price difference between NWN EE Deluxe on Steam versus GOG, 66 versus 33% off? They're different stores. They're on a different sales schedule.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's kind of it. Like we do deals with GOG. Usually our dude calls us up. He's like, dude, I want to put it on sale. And we're like, how much of a sale do you want for? Black Friday! Black Friday! He's like, I want this. So we're like, okay.
33% off. Okay.
We okay that. And then typically we've a month before, because Steam demands a month before, we put in some data and it goes on sale, and we totally forget about the two being in any way in conflict.
Should have expected
and
Black Friday.
Hey, Black Friday!
You know. That's where we are. Yeah.
Here's a question. Can you discuss the Trello card related to soft coding of classes/feats and the points around rule set options? I was under the impression that soft coding of many feats was not a feasible option. What changed?
Well, yeah. So this is not going to be a universal fix for all of the limitations that we have, but we are looking into things that we can unhard code as far as like feats and like class restrictions and things like that are concerned. Because it is possible to do. It's just we need to go through there with a fine-tooth comb and see what we can unhard code. Because a number of those things were hard coded.
Yeah, some of them are just crazy hard coded. Like somebody typed the number 26 into code. Mm-hmm. So we can go in, we can replace that 26 with a variable and then have that variable referenced from scripting. So we can open things up that way.
Yeah.
In other ways, we can look at the actual process that things are stepping through and say, maybe we could implement that similar to how spells are.
Yeah.
But in other ways, there are some things that are just so crazy hard-coded, it's like, can't touch that.
Yeah, so on Trello, we have moved that into our roadmap, and the idea there basically is we are going to do the research necessary to find out what we can on hard code, and then once we can start devoting resources to starting that process, we're going to do that. So.
Here's another question. How are you guys going to handle making new content that looks good on PC but runs good on mobile? The answer is we're going to rewrite the renderer.
Yep.
And part of rewriting the renderer is building in multiple render paths. It's like if device equals Android, don't do the crazy.
Yeah.
Only do the moderate level of crazy. The other thing is...
this frame buffer effect will make your Android device catch on fire. So let's not use that on the Android device. Or use a much scaled down version.
That's part of what we're working on. So
yeah, you'll notice on the Android version that some of the textures are not as high resolution as the PC version, for example. And these sorts of things will happen. But
fairy dragons suck. They just suck, man. They roll in and they're like, don't you love me and all my particles that spill everywhere and kill frame rate? It's rather brilliant, isn't it? And you're like, what the hell? Just shit. He's a tiny little guy, and he's like...
he has all of the particles.
Yeah, I have the particles, and I will just spill them everywhere. It'll be brilliant. brilliant. You love it. Trust me.
So yeah, the short version of it is we are doing the render update, and we actually got a chance to take a look at that earlier this week, and it's looking pretty awesome.
It's passed from this is something that exists in my mind
it's gone from theoretical physics to physics.
Yeah, it's now physics. So now we still need to figure out how to manipulate the physics, and then we have to build all the tooling for the physics. So
yeah,
there's a lot.
Yeah, but the preliminary version we have seen is pretty darn awesome, and we got our folks, Soren and Niv, taking a look at that, and they seem very excited, which is great.
I think
a lot of that's way over my head.
I think we're all kind of sitting back going, that sounds really cool if I understood what you were saying.
Yeah, I mean, I understood. I was like, I understand most of those words.
I understand. You've used words. You put them together.
In that particular combination,
there are sentences that form structure, but I individually have no idea on how to go and do the things you have described that need doing.
But the nice thing is we have people that do understand all of those things, and so it was Trent and I sat in on that meeting and listened to much more technical people than ourselves speaking. And
good on you, Soren. You
great.
do that.
So they're working together on Soren is writing shaders and Cam is writing the rendering fix or update, and it's going to be pretty darn cool.
Yeah. I don't know what I would call it. I would call it a reimagining of the renderer.
The renderer update.
Yeah, it's like, here's how renderers were done in 2000 era.
Yeah. And now this is not a Band-Aid, by the way.
Yeah, now I'm going to build this tool that allows you to construct a renderer in 2018 timelines.
Yeah, so in real time, too. Like, the version that we saw is like, you can change you can, like, update your shaders and change the way your rendering passes work in real time while the game is running.
It's a little terrifying. It feels a little secret DARPA lab to me right now, so we'll see when
Cam
we get
is a mad scientist.
We'll see when we actually get it out running.
But yeah, he tore down the entire rendering system and rewrote it from the ground up. So this is not just a Band-Aid either. Like this is a complete overhaul, which will also be compatible with the old version. So
that is the goal.
Yep.
Here's a question about the survey data. Would you rather the survey data get filled out sooner, or use the data quicker, or wait until players have played a lot longer? I was waiting before filling out the survey.
So the sooner we get the responses to the survey, the sooner we can action on the things that are on the responses, but we will be continuing to reference the survey as we go forward. I'm not sure when exactly we are going to close that out.
I would say get the survey done before we close the beta and launch for real. That way we can actually action that stuff. Some of it might not happen until like a patch 1 or something. Mm-hmm. But
I'm thinking we might keep it up for patch 1 because there's going to be more people that are playing the game at that point. It gives us a little bit more time. But so fill it out when you are ready to fill it out, but don't wait until Easter next year.
Yeah, that would be bad. At some point we'll close it.
Yes. But we'll let you know before we close it.
Here's a question. When will 2.6 be out?
Still a while?
Yeah, the answer is yes. 2.6 will be out. Right now we're kind of waiting on a process issue. Yeah. We need some approvals that are kind of hanging in the middle of nowhere right now. So there's going to be a bit on that. Yep. And Dan has sent us a message here saying we should give away a T-shirt.
Oh, yes.
Before we do our interview. We never really talked about what we're doing for an interview, did we?
That's true, but we will get into it.
We're going to do an interview. On this Black Friday! So we're going to give a T-shirt to Real JPSI.
Real JPSI.
Real JPSI.
Real J Psi.
See, you see Psi like psionics. Like I see PSI like pressure.
Yeah.
Oh, one thing. I have a knife. Knife! Well, Black Friday! So last week we showed off this knife, but it had a square handle.
Yes.
So this week I have actually put a handle on it. Now, I think the handle might be too big. It fits my meats really nicely, but I think for other people, especially people with slightly smaller hands, it might be too big. So the next stage for me is really to figure out what the heck I'm doing with this knife, because I think it might be a Christmas gift. Because, I can just grind it a bit and give it to somebody as opposed to having to go to a store and deal with people. So I think I might cut that handle down a bit. But I like it. I like the way it feels in my mitts, and I can hold it like this. I kind of built the end here so it goes out. Feels nice for chopping. So.
Are you getting a weapon for Secret Santa?
Yep.
Neat.
I think that's out of Secret Santa's price
Probably.
range. And general rule of thumb is don't give stabby things to coworkers while drunk. Because that's what
That's true. There will be drinking involved.
There will be drinking.
Probably don't want to bring it's not murder sharp yet, but a sharp weapon.
It's sharpish.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so yes, let's get back on track. We do have an interview coming up, so I'd like to just say that we have spoken with one of the DMs from the Arelith Persistent World server.
Yes.
Grumpycat DM, who has been around for about 4 years on Arelith and has played Neverwinter Nights for around 11.
11 years.
Yeah.
My God, man. My God, man.
This is awesome. And so, while she is only DMing on Arelith, she has played on other servers, such as the City of Arabelle, Ravenloft, and Cormanthor. And she is also a longtime pen and paper gamer. So we'd like to talk with her today a little bit about what it's like DMing on a Persistent World server and how that's like DMing a pen and paper game.
That's awesome. So we're going to do the double headphone thing because I like putting more ridiculous things on my head. I wonder if I could put a toque on there too.
Probably.
Oh, this goes this way. This.
I'm not sure.
It's all tangled. My God, man! Ah! I'm gonna infomercial it here. It's like.
There.
Don't you hate it when your headphones attack you out of nowhere and you can't do anything? You get these new headphones that you just glue to your ears and you're done.
Okay, I'm just going to call now.
He is calling now. It is making calling noises.
Hello? Oh, I'm going to need to turn her up a bit.
There we go. I hear words. Hello.
There we go. Hello.
Can you hear me all right?
I think so.
Excellent.
Awesome.
This is a warning because at some point in the stream we may totally go Black Friday. Black Friday! Because we're doing that today, apparently.
Yes.
This is a thing.
We apologize.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I'll just brace myself.
Nice. So, Grumpycat, hello. Welcome.
Hello to you too. Nice to talk to you.
It's good to talk to you as well. So, I read your bio, but if you could tell us a little bit about yourself and your involvement with Arelith.
Yes, I've been involved in Arelith for about 11 years, almost since I started playing Neverwinter Nights. It wasn't quite my first server, but it was, I think it was about my second or third. I started DMing about 4 years ago, and I've been DMing there a while, and it's a great server, and it's a great game. Neverwinter Nights is fantastic. I've really enjoyed it. It's great.
Awesome.
I also do DMing on pen and paper and playing on pen and paper as well.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Cool. Do you? So you were on Arelith for 11 minus 4, so 7 years before you started DMing. Do you have any characters that people might be familiar with that have also been on Arelith for a long time?
Oh well, I've played quite a few different characters. Marielle was my.
Oh. Did we lose you?
I think technology has failed us.
Uh-oh, RTC disconnected.
That is not good.
Level 20 mage.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, good.
We lost you for a moment.
Yeah,
you are back.
Technology decided it didn't like us.
I'm sorry. Me and technology don't always get on. Right?
You're not alone.
Yep.
Sometimes I wish I could take a hammer to technology.
Yeah, it's great when it works. Nightmare when it doesn't.
So when you're DMing on Arelith, like what are kind of the typical things you spend a lot of your time doing?
I try to mix it up with Arelith. It depends a bit on what's going on. I tend to do a lot of, I guess you call it admin stuff, which is tending to player requests for alignment changes or, just checking on fairness issues, on rules issues, making sure everybody is, on the same page. But there's also quests as well. an event, which can be as big as ogres attacking a nearby town, or overseeing a PvP event to make sure it's all fair and fun, to small things such as taking control of an NPC town guard and, ambling around the gate, chatting to other PCs to make the world feel a bit more alive. There's a lot to it, a lot of different aspects to persistent world GMing, which, when I sort of dip into each one of those at certain times.
That's awesome, because, one of my things is, we built the DM tools, but we kind of built them imagining how people might use them, and then over time, with leading up to the 169 patch, we patched some stuff in at Bioware, and we really haven't done a lot of almost like user testing on it, and seen actual kind of use cases and helped people kind of optimize around it. That's something I'm kind of interested in going forward. It's just
improving the DM tools.
Yeah, it's one of those things. You design it with a use case in mind, and then the reality of the use case has often very little to do with what you design.
Right on.
To be fair, I think the DM tools are very good for the most part. It's I love how there's various different ways to do things. That's really nice. And I found them surprisingly intuitive. To start with, you look at it, you go, "Oh my gosh, how does this work?" And then as you get used to it, you discover, oh, you've got 5 or 6 different ways of doing things. That's nice. So there are probably things which will be good to add into that. But overall, they work really well. I find them very easy to get on with. And on Arelith, we have sort of like DM ones and stuff, which are which help us in our sort of day-to-day running. Things to change the name of PCs, not PCs, NPCs, on the fly, or even change the name of areas. I think it's Neverwinter NX. I can't remember what it's called. It's NX or something. That helps a lot.
Yep.
It's generally very good to use. When I first started, I was petrified of it. I was like, oh gosh, all these little things to use. But no, mostly you pick up fairly fast. Although you still panic. I always love this idea that you've got the players imagining this person at a keyboard, steepled fingers, arched eyebrow, and yes, my pretties, do as I say. When in fact it's more like me screaming incoherently, going, "Why are you doing this? Why won't that spawn? No!"
So basically, a normal tabletop DM experience.
It's like the inside voice pen and paper DM. You're like, "I've built this brilliant adventure this way, and you have burned down the tavern. Why?
No plan survives contact with the players. That's it.
Exactly.
Yeah, pretty much. So you also do pen and paper DMing.
Yes, I do.
Do you play in a regular group?
Well, I'm not DMing at the moment, I must say, but yes, we have a couple of regular games. One of which is tonight. It's in a couple of hours' time, and we do a sort of a once every 2 week session. Both of which my husband runs, so there we go.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So how do you find the... what kind of similarities are there between like DMing a tabletop game and DMing a game on a persistent world server?
Well, there are some very deep similarities and some very deep differences. The similarities... At the end of the day, it's the same basic concept. You are somebody telling a story for a group of players, and you're guiding them in that story, and you hope that you're watching them make their characters and so on. And so that's the basic of that remains the same. You're providing a framework in which to tell a tale, whether that's your narrative or the rules base or whatever. The big differences are things like amount of players. If I'm on a tabletop, I'll have 4 people, 3 people, 5 people in front of me, and I'll know them. Mm-hmm. I can say, "Oh, well, why is your character setting fire to the bar again? Why did those wild?" And they can explain that, and them and that stuff. In a persistent world server, an average for a week, a good average players on an evening for Arelith overall is about 200. That's a bit
difference in scale there.
A little harder to talk to everyone at once.
Yeah. and you have to keep in mind the needs and desires of all those players, and you can only attend to a certain amount at a certain time. And you've also got more of a thing of players making their own stories, which I think is what makes persistent world gaming really quite special. It's why I love it as a player and as a DM, because in a pen and paper game, the story that's told is essentially going to be my story, whereas in persistent worlds, as a player, you can go, heck with the DMs, I'm just going to chill out with another character and make this story up, and you get a much more it's a much more interesting. I can start a story in pen and paper, and I have to be there to see it continue. Whereas in Persistent World, I can start a story by introducing a question to some players, disappear, and then come back 3 or 4 days later and find that there's a city burning and 5 of them killing each other, and other fun stuff like that, which is great. That's one of the big differences, and it's really cool. Theme. But it's also very similar in some way.
That's awesome.
That's amazing. So yeah, you did mention like one of the major challenges being having the fact that there are like 200 players to deal with. I imagine that. What's that?
On a busy day, on a busy evening, it's about 200, I think now. It's hovers between 100 and 200, I'd say.
Right on. So I'm imagining this means that there's probably more than one DM running at any given time.
Yes, yes. Thank
goodness.
Horrible ideas. No, there's about 19 of us of different levels of presence, but 19 DMs on Arelith altogether.
Right on. Do you often work as a group, or do DMs tend to kind of work individually on Arelith?
Well, we tend to speak as a group a bit. If there's a decision to be made, and I'm not sure of it, then I can always contact the other DMs and say, hey, such and such wants such and such. Is this fair? Can we do this? And they will say yes or no, and we'll discuss it out. When it comes to events, it's more solo, but occasionally for big events, again, we do work as a group. If it's something involving a lot of players and will need a lot of hands on deck, then you can get 2 or 3 DMs working together. But for day-to-day running, and we work together behind the scenes as well. For a small quest.
I think this is awesome. I mean, when we set out to build a DM client, we kind of had ideas on how people might use it. And this is kind of like the best case scenario. Hey, it all worked and everybody's using it how we kind of intended and it's not sucking. This is awesome. So I'm very ecstatic to be talking to you.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, it really does. I mean, I'm not going to say, it's absolutely perfect and, it's everything in the entire world that we could ever dream of doing. There's probably a few holes, but for the most part, it works really well, I find, and it's pretty intuitive.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Have there been any particularly memorable events that you've worked on like sort of a large scale on Arelith that you can tell us about?
I'd say my favourite event and the one which is most memorable is one which involved a logging group. It was a group who were doing who were gathering wood basically, and they went to this town which was in the woods called Gulderand, and they said, "Hi, yes, we want to employ your people to gather wood to build houses in a far away arm." Now the narrative I was going for is there's a typical story which is druids are good and nice and kind and nature is always right, and of course the evil corporation comes in and destroys everything. And I thought, well, that's a nice narrative and it's very common. But what if you changed it around? Because don't get me wrong, I'm fully for environmentalism and stuff, but when you think about it, it can actually be quite a difficult question if you're actually on the ground. If you're the sort of person whose livelihood depends on, say, logging, it's a little difficult for somebody else to turn around and say, don't do that. And so the story I wanted to go with, just to change the usual situation up and to create a story the players could talk about afterwards and the characters could talk about as well, was this idea of this logging group, these merchants who wanted to buy timber and cut timber down from this mountain, were really nice people for the most part. And the druids who were in the mountain, who were actually a hostile group you could run across anyway, were really not nice and really kind of evil. And so I began this plot where on the one hand you had this group trying to deforest the mountain, on the other hand you had these druids who were vehemently opposed to this and were actually quite nasty people and were very much, you've cut down all these trees, we want you to kill a person for each tree cut down, we were going to burn your settlement down for even trying this. And I just I ran that story, and the PCs had to weaken the forest and stuff, and that worked really well, because not only was the actual event fun to run, where the PCs had to fight druids and the druids fought the PCs back and it was all great, but also when I logged off, when I was doing other things, I knew that the story was being talked about by the PCs afterwards. The PCs were chatting to each other because, of course, you had people playing druid characters who, even though the druids of the mountain weren't very nice, they're like, yeah, but guys, this is kind of bad, isn't it? And so it sort of ran when I wasn't there, and that's again what I was talking about. It's one of the things I love. And the event ended. Oh gosh, the event ended about 2 years ago now, and it's still going on.
Wow.
When we did, yeah. Well, when it ended, the devs of the developers of Arelith, they added a few changes to the area. They introduced the boat, and they just made a few changes so that the PCs can go, oh, but look, because the loggers won in the end, so the druids lost, and so the PCs go, oh, look at our mountain, it's no longer as lush and forested as it once was. And the druid said, yeah, and that's your fault, that is. You did that. And you've got people still trying to fix that, and that's good. But then again, maybe if they fix it, that will have its drawbacks as well, As nice as it is to think about living in harmony with nature and squirrels and little cute bunnies and all that, it would also mean problems of infrastructure and more hard work and all the rest. So, it's fun. I like it. It's a sort of debate to have in-game. The story which continues itself, which are my favourite stories.
That's awesome. And I love the idea that you've kind of got this almost like live event that people can participate in, and then when you go off, they can still kind of collaborate and plan and talk about it, and then join in and continue playing it. And then even after it's passed, you can make changes to the world that kind of correspond with the events that happened in that plot. So to me, that's like it's a really interesting frontier of gaming that typically is only done on this massive commercial scale with huge MMOs with massive teams, and the idea of being able to do it on a smaller scale, it makes me really proud.
Yeah, I mean that's what was made for Neverwinter Nights. I mean, I've just given a small example of what I do, but again, one of the things I love about persistent world servers is you get that, and there's nothing else that does that, or nothing I know of that does. It's only Neverwinter Nights and the servers therein. It's not unique to Arelith, but I believe it is pretty much unique to Neverwinter Nights that does that and has the amount of agency needed for the DMs as well. Because, I mean, you're right, you do get big MMOs doing that to an extent, but that's, as you say, always driven by sales figures and stuff like that. With Neverwinter Nights servers, you've actually got a group of people behind the teams who aren't necessarily the DMs. In the case of Arelith, it's also about the developers who get to say, what would work, what wouldn't, what they can change, and it makes a really interesting dynamic, I think. And again, because it's persistent world, you've also got players making their own stories. Some of the best stories I've been involved in on Arelith and on other servers has had nothing to do with other DMs as well, which is really amazing. It's really fantastic. And as I say, probably as far as I'm aware, pretty much unique to Neverwinter Nights. I've never encountered it elsewhere.
That's awesome.
Fantastic.
It's been great talking to you. We're getting this sign from the hand of Dan that we got to get back because we've only got 11 minutes remaining. So thank you very much, Grumpycat, for joining us.
Yeah, thanks so much for joining us.
This has actually been awesome.
If you'd like to join Grumpycat, Arelith is an active server on Neverwinter Nights, and you can log in there. Are you guys on 8186 now?
I believe so. Yes,
awesome.
We are.
So
yes,
get the latest stable build, and you should be able to connect.
Yep, we'd be glad to have anybody here. Check out the rules, have some fun. Yeah, it's a great server, and yeah, thank you for having me.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, and take care.
Bye.
Bye. I have a warm glow now. I'm all glowy.
That's fantastic.
That's awesome. we made something and it didn't suck.
It's always awesome to see like people using the tools that we've given to them to like the greatest possible effect.
Well, and something that you thought was a possibility of happening, and just hearing her story about how it played out and how they were able to do this interactive plot and run it over time and engage fans. That's why we built it.
Yeah, awesome. And we didn't really get a chance to get into it, but Grumpycat and other Persistent World DMs who are working on the servers and things like that, we are interested in making the experience even better. So let us know your feedback, what you'd like to improve, and let's start a dialogue on that.
Yeah, and as always, the best place to chat is on the forums, and it's definitely seeing the possibilities that you can do with Neverwinter. My natural reaction is to go, what else can we do on the Black Friday? So I'm of course
I'm proud of us for not like forcing that on Grumpycat too
we
hard.
only did right at the very beginning.
Once.
We kept
when
it.
we were
just connecting up. We were mostly under control.
Yes,
mostly
trying, guys.
Here's a question: how are those additions coming along? The new classes and other things that were mentioned in the Steam discussions. What Steam discussions? What you talking about, Willis?
Sure.
Yep.
As far as like classes and so on, I think that ties into the question that we had prior to the interview, where we're talking about like hard coding certain things. So that's probably
well. And I think as well, we have a desire to expand kind of the class offerings, but again, there's no firm hard plans on that right now. I mean, my view of the world is there's so many forums and so many different places we could go to talk to people. I look at the Beamdog forums because that's just my direct communication channel. So that's where I kind of go to stay up to snuff on things.
Yeah. So first thing that I would like to do is expand the customization ability, the customizability, before we start introducing our own stuff.
Well,
so that people can
we've got so
collaborate.
many. We're active on so many fronts that it's just like, okay, we redo the renderer, which is going to require some artwork to be redone, which will require this, require that, and schemes within schemes within schemes, my friends.
We're setting up a lot of dominoes right now.
Yeah, but tick, 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 tick. Once some of them fall into place, then other dominoes can start to fall into place, then other dominoes. I have this fear that this is literally a 20-year legacy product that we're never going to escape. We're just going to continue building and extending and driving it forward, and it's just going to become this bigger, more monstrous thing as we roll forward. And I will be an ancient man going, I made this game and just can't get away from it. It's always going to be there. It's kind of my love and my curse at the same time. Get off my lawn, you kids!
But yeah, I mean, like we're gonna keep on keeping on and seeing how we can make better improvements to it. So.
The list of stuff to do is never ending. Here's a question on when can we expect keyholing in the PC release, and will tile fade be completely removed from the engine?
So Niv has already started looking at what we can do to bring keyholing into the PC release. There are some complications to that. We were talking with the community, and we noted that some folks are using tile fade in order to simulate like half-built buildings and ruins and things like that in certain outside areas. So we don't want to completely remove tile fade, but we have to find a good solution that allows people to still use those half buildings and not break their custom content while still allowing people to use keyholing. So it's a little ways off, but we're working on that.
Yeah, I think the right answer is we'll try to make it so that both systems coexist. But at the same time, we can't really shut one off entirely. So
because that's the thing about customizability is people have really creative uses for some of these things.
Yep.
And so we need to make sure that we're not breaking people's custom content before we introduce that and kill like tile fade.
So we actually have a whole lot of community questions we should probably answer.
Well, we only have 6 minutes, so let's get around to a few of them, and some of them may just have to wait until next week.
I'm going to literally give you a sentence to answer each one.
Okay.
So here's the Neverwinter question. Will the team consider implementing anything to ease the modding process? For example, 2D editing.
That's coming in after the renderer update, or possibly as part of the renderer update.
Okay.
Yep.
Neverwinter, any news on the replacement for the PLT format? When will we get transparency for body parts without needing special shaders for it?
See above.
After renderer.
After renderer.
Dink. Third question. Are you going to, or must you, follow FR canon in any future storylines, such as an expansion or premium modules? Current timeline of the Forgotten Realms, etc., or could an adventure be set in an earlier date in the Forgotten Realms timeline, provided it didn't disturb canon? This one, I mean, it ultimately comes down to the timelines we're playing in, and we can't really radically break things that destroy things that come into timeline after us.
Yeah.
That said, I mean, the third ed setting, they pretty much destroyed Neverwinter at the end of 3.5, so we got a lot of freedom in there, and Wizards are pretty awesome to work with.
Absolutely.
So, pretty good there. 4, i.e., any news on the BG 20th anniversary celebration? Yes, we will celebrate. Beverages will be consumed. Fun will be had. ... And cake.
Cake.
Number 5. Being a game developer, you had to deal with constraints from licensors and publishers when it came to creating content. Can you please elaborate on the new content you would like to create now that you're both a developer and publisher? We're still a licensor, so we still have to work with Wizards, so they're still limited in terms of the crazy things we can do. Mm-hmm. But
as far as current products are concerned.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, we just try to do things we think would fit in the world and make sense in the world. And we're usually pretty close to right on it because we're fans. Mm-hmm. And being fans of the setting and fans of the world and fans of the 3rd edition rules, we're pretty in line with where things were.
We're all D&D nerds here. So.
Yeah, and we're good friends with the design team. Mm-hmm. We'll bounce stuff back and forth every chance we get.
Yep.
Here's the Neverwinter Android question. Can I sync Android and Steam save games automatically?
We don't have a way to automatically synchronize your saves, as they don't use the same cloud service. Yeah. But you could probably get creative with something like Dropbox to sync up save folders.
Yep. So I'm going to answer a community questions here. Can you bring back game type, RP, action, etc., filter in the server browser, please? Just like in old Neverwinter. We're going to add in some kind of game filter on that.
Yeah, so tagging and filtering.
That'll be one of the things we do going forward.
Yeah,
I'm not sure
about that the other day.
Yeah, I'm not sure on a timeline on that.
Yep.
And here's another question. With the upcoming player models and graphic enhancements, object formats, etc., would it be possible to produce some documentation or tools to support Blender development pipeline? We're talking with the guys.
Yeah, we're talking with Neverblender, Symmetric, who's working on Neverblender.
Yep.
About what we can do there.
Yeah. So one of the big things we want to do is make sure that there is a path for not only us but everybody else as well to create content. We're not radically changing the entire content pipeline. In most cases, we're just allowing to add in a lot more supporting files.
Yeah. So, streamlining it and making it easier.
Yeah. So that is the goal.
Yep.
Okay. Back to these questions.
Yes.
At what point does the custom content tools, toolset, 3D modeling plugins, etc., become priority?
See above, once again, the rendering update is
so
very deeply tied into all these things.
Yeah, first we need to stop rendering like it's 2000 or 1999.
And that'll allow us to look into like 3D model plugins and what have you. So.
Yep. Here's a question. There's problems with subscribed workshop mods being applied properly when starting the game. Is there any plans to address this? Perhaps a launcher app with mod selection and server browsing capabilities?
So I'm going to have to look into what the Steam Workshop problems currently are and how they're having trouble getting applied, and we'll see what we can do there.
Yeah, if you can submit either support or just talk about it on the forums, then we can get some more info around it. We can see exactly what the issue is, and we can hopefully deal with that. What are the licensing terms for using Beamdog content in custom content, i.e. repackaging Darkness over Daggerford models or music, etc.? Dude, if you buy Darkness over Daggerford, you own it. You can use the content as you see fit. There's as long as you're not making money from it and you've bought the content, you can share it around. I think the key thing is, out of respect to the Darkness over Daggerford guys, don't just rip everything cold and create your own custom mod and call it Darkness over Duggleford.
Darkness over Daggerford. It's like a cross between Dragon's Lair and Darkness over Daggerford.
General rule of thumb is just don't be a dick about it and everything should be fine.
To be Dirk the Daring?
Yeah. Have you guys ever considered how to deal with server monetization? For instance, private persistent worlds or even paid privilege inside open persistent worlds?
One, you can't monetize. We adhere to the WotC fan content policy, Wizards of the Coast, which you can read on company.wizards.com/fan content policy, all one word.
Yes. With that said, I mean, there was always long, ongoing discussions on what we could do in the space. And, I mean, as long as we're allowing content that's fan created, it can't be a premium service.
Right.
There's angles around it, but my God, the work involved. Mm-hmm. The work.
Yeah, so sadly, you cannot monetize your service.
Okay, so Dan is giving us it's 12, stop talking, you jackasses. Rappity rap, hit that Black Friday again for fun. Black Friday! So, happy Black Friday, everybody. We will see you again next week.
And congratulations to Blade Weasel.
Well done, Blade Weasel, on this Black Friday!
Winning a shirt.
You get a shirt.
Planescape shirt, so not the Neverwinter shirts we're wearing.
All right, take care, everybody.